Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Show presented by FanDuel. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil, Nick Padone, and big shout out to our producer Ryan Smith as always. Guys, we're coming off, probably what we expected over the weekend for our Browns and the Ravens at home. They beat the spread though, right? So
did beat the spread.
So
right.
I'm going straight to the positive here, McNeil, because I know you're talking about that pre-show a little bit. There's plenty to pick apart. We got to see Shedeur Sanders for the first time. What did you guys think?
Overall, that was just another Sunday of Browns football, unfortunately. I mean, Dillon Gabriel didn't look good. Shedeur didn't look particularly good. It was one of those, we had the lead going into halftime, Nick, and I thought maybe there's a chance, but you really know deep down we ain't winning that ball game. This Browns team isn't winning a ball game like that. We're not going to win many ball games this year. We have a chance, though, this Sunday. Looking ahead to the Raiders here. They've had their problems. We're going to fly out there, see what we can do against them, but it's looking pretty ugly right now. We're starting to see that next chapter with Shedeur Sanders. First little inkling of him was not particularly good. We'll see what happens when he's not kind of thrown in the way he was on Sunday.
It's the same game every week. They had the lead at halftime. They were tied for most of that game. Nobody really expected them to win the game, though. The offense is so bad. But Ohio State got the job done Saturday. The Kent State Golden Flashes brought the wagon wheel back to Dick's Stadium. Chris, Coach Carney could have these boys bowling for my Kent State Golden Flashes. So things are looking up in the college football world, not so much in the NFL.
What a nice turnaround for them. Way to go, Kent State Golden Flashes and coach there. That's fantastic.
Okay, Golden Flashes. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with our Cleveland sports headlines right after this.
Today's Cleveland headlines are brought to you by our friends at Northeast Factory Direct. You can look outside and it's getting pretty chilly out there. It's time to freshen up the interior. So if you want to remodel that kitchen, update your furniture, looking for a new mattress this winter, Northeast Factory Direct is the place for you. There's no fancy showrooms, no high-pressure salespeople, just great quality items at unbelievable prices. It gets even better for our listeners when you're shopping at Northeast Factory Direct and you're getting ready to check out. Ask for that extra special big play bonus. You're going to get an extra discount on top of the unbelievable prices. Visit them today. Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, North Canton. Check them out online at northeastfactorydirect.com. And remember to ask for that extra special big play bonus. You will thank us later.
23-16, the Browns fall to the Ravens, but we did, Dillon Gabriel goes out with a concussion. We did get to see Shedeur for the first time, and we touched the surface there a little bit on what he looked like. Probably unfair to completely dive into an extreme analysis on this kid for getting thrown in mid-game, and it was pretty well publicized. Like, he hasn't really gotten any reps with the guys that are out there. Yeah, what did you think of the fact that 4 of 16, 47 yards, he had the interception and 2 sacks, 16 rushing yards. Anything you're taking away from this? You give him some leadway?
Yeah, I think you have to. It really, my thing, it's an organizational failure again. It's another quarterback that's not prepared. I just was laughing at my TV like a maniac because it was poetic in the way that the CBS broadcast is talking about the Cleveland Browns, and Kevin Stefanski told them in their pre-show meeting. Kevin Stefanski said that we're developmental maniacs. We're obsessed with developing players. No, you're not. What's one offensive player that this team has developed? I can't really identify it. I certainly can't name it. The NFL's not a developmental league. In baseball, you could develop guys. You got the minor leagues, and you got to pay your dues in that sport. In the NBA, you're drafting kids that are 18 years old and that played a season in college, and then they've got some time before they evolve into whatever they're going to be in the NBA. In the NFL, you don't really have that luxury. You got to find good football players and put them on the field because primes are shorter. In general, careers are shorter. So the Browns just continue to do the wrong thing at every single turn. And it should be a surprise to nobody that Shedeur flopped like he did on Sunday.
Well, it seems like the Browns kind of treat developmental, quarterbacks coming into this organization less like an investment where they're going to kind of long-term plan out what they're going to do with the guy. They're going to develop him over time. They've got a very good course of action, what they want to do. And really, they treat them more like lotto tickets, right? Where it's scratch it off. If it doesn't work, let's go on to the next one. And that's kind of what we've done here. Dillon Gabriel looks like, nope, that's not going to be the guy. Let's go back to Shedeur. Let's see what he can do. And then you bring in the next one. You scratch off that next lotto ticket. What are we going to do this next draft? Are we going to draft another quarterback? Are we going to draft for our many, many spots of need right now? No, I think we're probably going to go for that quarterback. We're going to scratch off another lotto ticket. If that one doesn't hit, then the cycle continues. So as much as this team likes to talk about development, we just simply have not seen that. From the guys they choose in the draft to where they bring them to, you just don't see the development that they continue to promise, with or without our strategy guy, who is now gone in Colorado, Nick. This team doesn't seem to be really moving forward with any of the personnel we seem to choose.
Yeah, and it's like now, we sit here Monday morning, and now we get to play the game where all the ghosts of Christmas past come out, like Luke McCown is explaining that, well, usually backup quarterbacks don't get snaps with the ones, and Baker Mayfield back in 2018 didn't take any snaps with the ones. Here's the thing, though. The Browns did this to themselves. They put themselves in this situation because when Joe Flacco was the starting quarterback, Dillon Gabriel was getting snaps with the ones. So they've created a precedent for this conversation. They've opened themselves up for critique, and they created this with this 4-man quarterback competition. They bailed from their plan when they traded Kenny Pickett for a 5th-round pick. Then they bailed from their backup plan when they traded Joe Flacco for a 5th-round pick. This organization, I think Zach Jackson, who does a good job covering the Browns, said it best in The Athletic. This organization and this regime will be remembered for the Deshaun Watson trade. Yeah. And outside of that, they'll be remembered for their obsession with 5th and 6th round draft picks. Like, I don't know, why did you trade Kenny Pickett for a 5th round pick if that was your guy that was supposed to start games this year and let you develop Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders? Right. You couldn't pass up a 5th round pick. It just doesn't make any sense.
And that's part of the reason you see that Shedeur wasn't able to take a lot of reps with the first teamers. You don't have that veteran you can rely on. You say, okay, he doesn't need all the reps this week because he's a veteran. He's established. He's the Joe Flaccos of the world, so we can give Shedeur a chance here. You didn't. You're developing 2 guys at the same time, at least quote unquote trying to develop 2 guys at the same time. That just doesn't work. There's only so many reps you could take with those guys, so you cannot find a happy medium where Shedeur is getting in rhythm with any of these receivers, really understanding what the offense is doing and getting that timing down. And I think that's really sad that this organization hasn't figured that out yet.
What do you guys think about the defense, though? I know we're ripping apart the offense. Does it make you feel any better about this team looking at how dominant the defense has been? Another 4 sacks for Myles Garrett. He's breaking records again, most tackles under the age of 30 and most tackles through 6 games. I think it's like with a minimum of 13. He's kind of posting
set on setting a new record for the NFL. 22 and a half sacks right now is the NFL record, and right now he's pacing to get like 25. That's just absolutely fantastic. Carson Schlesinger, we saw another fantastic game out of him. We've talked about him multiple times on this show. For all of the misses that Andrew Berry's had, he seems like a real good one. He seems like he's going to be your rookie of the year, your defensive rookie of the year. Had another great game. So you like to see the young guys contributing. The defense overall has been very, very good this year. We keep talking about it. The offense has completely let us down, and the special teams are on, then they're off, and it just makes for an absolute mess, and it's too bad to see a defense like this get wasted with the Cleveland Browns right now.
Yeah, it actually makes me more mad. Like, I can't even enjoy how great this defense is and how historic what Myles Garrett is doing is. And I mean, he is really starting to show that he could be the best Cleveland Browns player since 1999 and is going to be a guy that's a first ballot generational Hall of Famer whenever he decides to retire, because we've always mentioned him in the breadth of Lawrence Taylor. Now he's breaking Lawrence Taylor's records. Mm-hmm. So now this conversation becomes real, but you're completely wasting it. It's all for naught. The team has 2 wins, and he's literally being mentioned in the same breath as greats of the sport, and the team is doing nothing with it because they can't get out of their own way, because they can't identify a quarterback, because they can't fix this offense. Myles Garrett's heroic efforts on a week-in, week-out basis are really all for naught.
Yeah, do you think, do you think, first of all, he could have a case for Defensive Player of the Year on a team that's 2-8? And if so, does it mean much?
It doesn't mean much for us, but other than it's fun to watch him go out there week in, week out, put up some stats. Ultimately, it's empty calories on a team that's going nowhere. But for him personally, yeah, I think he's up there for defensive MVP once again. I mean, every single week, you've got a game plan for Myles Garrett. Everybody knows that, and he's still able, Nick, to put up just unbelievable numbers and eventually what could be, once again, the NFL record.
And I think he definitely deserves it. I think I agree with what you said. I think Carson deserves Defensive Rookie of the Year. Honestly, he deserves to be an All-Pro. I know they'll probably give it to some old veteran linebacker just out of pity, but like Carson definitely deserves to be an All-Pro. He's been that good. And again, it just doesn't mean anything because the team is as bad as they are.
Did you take anything away from Myles Garrett and what he had to say about Shedeur after the game, kind of giving him props and like we vest our confidence in him, and he got the team together after the game, kind of taking accountability, and Myles stepped in and was like, hey man, like, you know, we're not going to let you take this. So what did you think of that interaction?
It shows that there is still leadership on the team. I don't think that the leadership is coming from the head coach, you know, because you're trying to manufacture a game-winning drive. You call a timeout, and Stefanski and Shedeur aren't even talking to each other. You know, you still have the pre-snap penalties. You still have guys jumping off sides on pivotal 4th and 1s. Like all of the same mistakes from a coaching aspect are still apparent on a week-in, week-out basis. So it's nice that at least some of the veterans on the roster are showing emotion and are trying to be leaders. That's been a knock on Myles Garrett. You saw Wyatt Teller absolutely come unglued. That's the most emotion that I've seen out of an offensive player really all year. So at least Shedeur Sanders getting into the game caused the team to rally a little bit and fight a little bit. And he did have a chance, even though it was kind of a laughable stat line. Like I think he had a 2 QBR and he was 4 of 16 passing. Like had a chance to win the game there at the end. Had Gage Jarvadan come down with that ball, we're probably having a very different conversation today. So I actually thought Shedeur Sanders showed that he has a little bit of talent, and certainly a little bit more talent than the 3rd round pick that they continue to put out there in front of him.
And Jarvadan was killing himself after the game, sitting in his locker. He was very upset at himself for dropping that ball.
Yeah, and it was like the DB made a great play on the ball. Like you can't, like Gage can't beat himself up about that.
He's a young guy, you know. He's taking accountability. It's good to see the accountability, at least on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Garage Beer. No bitterness, no frills, no IPA, just beer-flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell garage beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for today's featured interview brought to you by Garage Beer. Garage Beer is the perfect beer for any occasion. It's small batch, no frills, no bitterness. It's just beer that tastes like beer. The garage is always open with Garage Beer, and now we're welcoming on a very special guest. He's a columnist for Cleveland.com, Jimmy Watkins, and I'll be seeing him at all the Cavs games lately as well. How you doing, Jimmy?
What's up, Gav? It's good to see you guys. I think we could all use a garage beer after yesterday.
Right.
No?
Yeah, what did you make of Shedeur's debut, and just how many games do you think you need to judge a rookie quarterback?
I think Shedeur's debut told us what the Browns have been seeing behind the scenes up to this point. I agree with what seems to be a universal take that Shedeur needed to have first-team reps before that game yesterday, particularly after the Browns made him the backup quarterback over a month ago now. That part is not okay. But I think you see the resistance. I think you see a little bit of the struggle within the Browns since drafting Shedeur yesterday. Mm-hmm. Sean Payton's got this formula. It's in the Seth Wickersham book about quarterbacks, just recently came out, that basically tries to evaluate. It gives a one-number score to quarterback processing in the draft. There's a whole section in this book on how they landed on Bo Nix, and part of the reason Sean Payton loved Bo Nix so much is he didn't take very many sacks in college. And Sean Payton's theory is that if you're taking a bunch of sacks in college, there's a little bit of a lag in the processing. And obviously, Shedeur tied for the FBS lead in sacks as a senior. Now, of course, he didn't have a very good offensive line at Colorado. Of course, yesterday he's dealing with a tackle situation that somehow got even worse during the game. Another tackle injury during the game. He's dealing with arguably the worst receiving core in the NFL. That makes you hold the ball longer because they don't get open very quickly. But this has been the knock on him straight out of the pre-draft scouting reports since before he got here. I think it was a big part of the reason why the Browns were bringing him along so slowly during the summer. And we saw it bear out yesterday. Again, the 4-man quarterback competition that took reps from Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel, by the way, over the summer, and then they traded the 2 veterans who were taking up most of those first-team reps. Well, that certainly looks silly now, doesn't it? That certainly looks silly now, doesn't it? But I think there was a reason why the Browns were so hesitant to play him, and a reason why Andrew Berry said during the preseason on the in-house broadcast, where all the glows are supposed to be, all the reviews are supposed to be glowing, that going from Shedeur's college offense to this offense is like speaking English and trying to learn Mandarin. I think all that makes sense now, even if everything else that the Browns have been doing at quarterback this year doesn't.
I want to take things there, Jimmy, because what is going on with Dillon Gabriel? Like, why is Dillon Gabriel continuing to start? It's clear that even though he technically played a better game than Shedeur Sanders, that he just doesn't have the talent that's required to be a long-term solution in this league. Like, why are they continuing to do this on a week-in, week-out basis with this kid?
Again, I think it's more about Shedeur. And by the way, I just want to say, none of this is to say that this is what Shedeur is going to be and that he can't improve on these things. I was there in training camp. I saw him make impressive throws. I liked him coming out of college. And by the way, I personally, if you had me choose between a quarterback who's a little bit too willing to take hits and a quarterback who's afraid to take hits, I'll take the guy who's willing to stand there and eat a hit, as Shedeur did several times yesterday, 10 times out of 10. But again, I just think that the way the Ravens approached Shedeur when he came in the game yesterday, by the way, remember Shedeur reportedly told them he didn't want to be drafted by them. The Ravens clearly did a lot of homework on Shedeur Sanders. And yesterday, the way they attacked him was, we're going to blitz the crap out of him. And when we're going to throw a lot of guys at him and bring a lot of guys, we're going to throw a lot of guys at him and bail. We're going to try to confuse him. That, to me, says that the Ravens think Shedeur has trouble processing pressure, just like the college tape would suggest, just like the college numbers would suggest to you. I think this has all been all of our Dillon Gabriel angst and the Browns' supposed, what we perceive to be Dillon Gabriel love and belief, could also just be Dillon Gabriel's the guy that they are more comfortable playing than Shedeur right now, because they don't think he's ready. And by the way, after watching yesterday, again, I think it will be better once Shedeur gets some first-team reps, novel idea, and has a game plan designed specifically to his skill set next week. And by the way, the Raiders are worse than the Ravens. That will help a whole bunch, right? But I think the Shedeur thing, you could argue, and this is probably giving the Browns way too much credit, but you could argue that the Browns have been trying to stop themselves from ruining Shedeur Sanders, because they know how bad the tackle situation is, because they know that the receivers aren't getting open, and because they know that Shedeur is already predisposed toward holding the ball a long while. So if you have a guy who's predisposed to hold the ball a long while and the receivers aren't open and the tackles aren't blocking, well, that guy's going to get hit a bunch, right? We saw it yesterday. And if that guy's going to get hit a bunch at the beginning of his career, well, that might not be the best thing necessarily for his career. Quarterbacks, we've heard stories all the time, go back to like Houston Texans expansion era David Carr. Like, was David Carr a bust, or did he just play behind terrible offensive lines too early in his career and we never really got to see? Tim Couch, same thing, right?
There you go, yeah.
Like, was Tim Couch a bust, or did he just get hit way too often early in his career? I think the Shedeur Sanders thing is multi-layered. I think there's the big Jimmy Haslam elephant in the room we could talk about if you guys want as well. But from a strictly football perspective, I think the Browns understand that this is a bad situation for rookie quarterbacks, and one rookie quarterback is more prepared to handle that bad situation than the other, even if he's also less talented than Shedeur Sanders.
Let's address that elephant in the room. What is the Jimmy Haslam issue / elephant in the room from your perspective here?
So it's all about who makes the decisions, who really has the power here. And we've been wondering that since Shedeur Sanders was drafted, right? When the Browns took Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round, we were all shocked and none of us thought it was a good idea, but at least we saw the vision, right?
Yeah.
If you go into camp with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dillon Gabriel, your quarterback room is scaring nobody, but at least it makes sense. You have a legit quarterback competition between 2 veterans You have a rookie that you plan to bring along slowly. And we all know, of course, at the end of this rainbow that the Browns are probably going to draft another quarterback in 2026 anyways. That became apparent the moment they didn't take one in the first 60 picks in April. So you don't have to put a ton of pressure on that rookie quarterback when you have two veterans in front of him. Then you take Shedeur the next day. Okay, now that's interesting. That doesn't make as much sense. That doesn't jive with what we were seeing before. So why did that happen? Brian Windhorse fingers. What are the Browns doing? What are they doing? What are the Utah Jazz doing? It's hard because Shedeur Sanders. I'm speculating here. None of this is information that I know. No one I've talked to has told me this. Shedeur Sanders sure seems like a Jimmy Haslam pick. Sure seems like someone who would put butts in seats. Sure seems like it's a mixture of Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield. Shedeur has a better head on his shoulders than Johnny Manziel, but he's got that star power to him, right? The Baker Mayfield element is he's like, if Baker Mayfield was the Pied Piper of Oklahoma football, to quote football genius Hugh Jackson, then Shedeur Sanders was the Pied Piper of Colorado football, right? He's got the it factor. You can rally people behind him. If you meet him, you see it. People like him. If the Browns met with him in the pre-draft process, you could bet Shedeur Sanders shook Jimmy Haslam's hand. You could bet Jimmy Haslam was impressed because Shedeur Sanders can turn on the charm. Okay, that's the origin of it, right? The next point of interest here: why did Shedeur become the backup when he became the backup? Particularly given if you recall, the messaging at the beginning of that week from Kevin Stefanski was, in classic Kevin Stefanski fashion, very unclear. He was asked directly if Shedeur would be the backup after they traded Joe Flacco. Why did they trade Joe Flacco when they did? Maybe, it's possible it's only because the sole reason is because they were able to turn a 6th round pick into a 5th round pick. That's possible. That's the only reason. Andrew Berry is a sicko for his 5th round picks. We know that. We know Andrew Berry loves to upgrade a good day 3 draft pick. I wouldn't put it past him. But the fact of it is that trading Joe Flacco also cleared the deck for Shedeur Sanders to move up the depth chart. And if somebody wants Shedeur Sanders to play sooner, then it would behoove that person to get the veteran quarterback out of his way. I'm not saying that Jimmy Haslam made these decisions. I'm just saying that given his track record, it is reasonable for Browns fans to wonder if he did.
Do you think because, as you mentioned, Shedeur has that it factor, he gets more grace if he goes out there and he doesn't produce the way, like, for example, the contrast with Dillon Gabriel, he's this fallen sacrificial lamb of sorts that, people are criticizing hotly, but then we see Shedeur make a short pass and it's like, yeah, do you think, and we're finding all these ways to find the positives and how Shedeur looked, and, we even mentioned, like, hey, if he would have just completed that touchdown, this would be a totally different conversation today. Do you think because of that it factor, fans are just willing to give more grace to this guy?
First of all, if Shedeur completed that touchdown either to Isaiah Bond or to Gage Larverdin, I think we'd still be picking bodies off the streets in West 6th. People would have lost their minds, right? Like that was right. the tangible that you heard in that stadium when Isaiah Bond ran open, Shedeur scrambled out and made that throw look like he might make the play, or when Gage Larverdin got his hands on the football in the end zone. And by the way, like I've seen some people beating up on Gage Larverdin for not making that. Like Chidobe Awuzie just made an awesome play, right? That's good football on good football right there. But to your question, Gab, about does the it factor give him grace? I think yes and no. I think inside the locker room, it does. I think because people respect the work that Shedeur is putting in, and because they like him as a person, and because they also understand the dude's had no first team reps and it's hard to be thrown into that situation. Like the Ravens defense by the numbers is not a good one this year, but they've had a lot of injuries and they're starting to get healthy and they're rounding into form. That's a good defense. Okay. I think everyone understands that. The players will give them a pass. Everyone else, I don't know, man. Like it just seems like the Shedeur Sanders conversation is kind of a hellscape. Like over here, we have a lot of people with their hair on fire who are saying, see, it was never going to happen for this guy. You're all overrating him. It's all just because of his last name. If he was, Shedeur Johnson, he wouldn't be in the league right now. And on the other hand, it's like, see, the Browns are ruining him. And no first-team reps. Are you serious? Have you ever heard of a backup quarterback not getting first-team reps in the month before his first appearance? It's a little bit more complicated than that, guys. You have 2 rookie quarterbacks. They're trying to get Dylan Gabriel ready for the games as well, and he's not experienced either. Yes, I agree. Shedeur should have gotten the first-team reps. But, like, there's just a lot going on here, and there's no one – I don't feel like there's anyone who has a rational Shedeur Sanders take right now, and that is directly related to his persona. So – yes and no, Gab. I don't. We're entering the crazy zone here.
Right.
So the other elephant in the room, Deshaun Watson. How does that book end here?
I don't. Deep sigh for all of us, right? I don't know. I can tell you that there's no good reason. There's no good reason to try him out. I don't think the Browns shouldn't play Deshaun Watson unless they literally don't have a choice this season. Like, come on, guys. What can be gained there? Like, you could, okay, I'll do the mental gymnastics. I'll do it. They open his practice window. Neither of the rookies look ready, or they're both hurt, or something of that nature. We've all seen Bailey Zappi start a meaningless Week 18 game before. We don't really need to see it again, right? And the Browns have this albatross of a contract crippling their cap situation right now. And if you don't try, you'll never get it, right? So you might as well. This is me doing mental gymnastics.
Yep.
This is me doing mental gymnastics. You might as well trot him out there, and who knows? Maybe Deshaun Watson, after 2 Achilles surgeries and after 2.5 really bad seasons of playing quarterback. Last year, one of the worst seasons that anyone's ever had playing quarterback. Certainly the worst of his career. Maybe after all that, he has a crazy 300-yard Matt Flynn game and convinces some other desperate franchise that, okay, fine. You pay some of that contract, most of that contract, but we'll pay the other part, and we'll give you a 5th-round pick, or you give us a 5th-round pick, and then we'll just take some of the money off your hands.
That's all we want is that 5th-round pick anyway.
Andrew Berry sitting at his desk. Another 5th-round pick? What?
Yes!
All right, now we've got it. The practice window is open. 5th-round picks are available. It's not going to happen. Deshaun Watson is radioactive. I do believe that he will eventually get another chance on an NFL roster. I don't know if that'll be as the planned starting quarterback, but like, what's going to happen here is the Browns are going to have to eat this money. Yep. So then Deshaun Watson will become essentially free. And as far off as it seems now, he was once a top 5 quarterback, and this is the most important position in all of sports. So somebody is going to convince themselves, or somebody's owner is going to convince them to stay on the topic from a couple segments back, right? Someone's owner is going to convince them that's worth a flyer, right? But it's going to be because it's free. It's not going to be no one, even if Deshaun Watson looks half decent. And like, again, 2 Achilles surgeries. He was so bad last year. Whatever was going on, I think he lost a lot of confidence over the last 3 years. I don't think that's going to improve by coming back to Cleveland and getting booed. By the way, if it does happen, and I'm saying it shouldn't, it will absolutely be on the road, where he will probably also get booed vociferously because, again, he's radioactive. But no one is giving the Browns anything, any pick, any cap relief. They're not taking any of the money. There's no point to it. And this franchise has already been through enough vis-a-vis this trade. So I don't know what will happen. I'm not taking anything off the table. We have a long back half of the season left in a very uncertain quarterback room. But there's no way that they should play him.
Which pretty much means they will. Right?
You said that, not me.
Jimmy Watkins, check out his stuff on cleveland.com. Thanks so much for giving us your time this morning. Are you going to the Cavs game tonight?
I'll see you there, Gab.
All right, sweet. I'll see you there. We're taking a quick break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It's time for our fill in the blank segment. First, we're going to take a look at the Cavs, fellas. What's your concern level with the Cavs right now? We're currently 9-5. It took them 38 games to lose their 5th game last year. Of course, we had that really hot start.
Right.
My concern level with the Cavs right now is a blank out of 10.
It's a little higher than what I would have expected it to be at this time. We're not even through November right now, but I'd say a 7. And the reason being is because we're starting to see the same things with this Cavs team that we saw with the playoff Cavs team last year, which is teams not rebounding real well, point of attack, we're really not getting after it. And so it really speaks to the strength of this team and the fact that we come off a little soft still, even early in this season. And you hate to see that. I hate to pull out the S word and saying we're soft this early, but that's got to get corrected before we get to the playoffs. That's a long way off. We have a long way to work on it, but still it's the same features of this team that we've been seeing these last few years.
They got some bad habits, man. They really do. I can't believe that people dragged me the way that they did all summer when I said LeBron or Kevin Durant would have been a great fit on this team, because you could tell when you watch them play, especially when Darius isn't healthy and when Donovan's not 100% on, that there's nobody wired with that championship mentality. And like we said that the regular season doesn't matter, so we can't overreact right now. So my panic is much lower than yours, Chris. It's probably around like a 2 or a 3. I'm not really that
You're
concerned.
really chill over there.
I'm
You really
not
don't
really
care.
concerned at all until we get Darius Garland healthy consistently.
Wake you up after Christmas.
Yeah, it's more so like I fear the bad habits that I saw during the playoffs last year, that they just get pushed around. When you face a center that is worth their lick, they get out physicaled in a lot of those games. They get out rebounded in a lot of those games, and you just can't have that happen come postseason time. But ultimately, there's too much basketball for me to overreact to anything right now.
I can understand that. You want to make more of an assessment when Garland gets back and we have a good look at this
And
team.
Strus too, because like Strus is genuinely somebody that's wired a little bit nuts. Like Strus will jump at loose balls. Strus will out rebound people that are taller than him. Like I think you'll have a much better picture like closer to the All-Star break than even after Christmas.
Does it concern you at all that Donovan's playing a little bit more than he was last year when you look at like load management and where we want them to be performing at their peak come playoff time? Is there any concern about having him, he's averaging 2.5 more minutes per game than last year?
Well, we had to see it. He had to do it. He had to play some hero ball. We had to beat the Grizzlies that way. He had to come on in the second half and really be that guy. And you hate to see that because you don't want him to be the centerpiece of this offense right now. You want to see the ball moving around in this offense and really getting comfortable with that. And you don't want to see Donovan being, complete hero ball. That's what it takes for us to win. And I think as the season progresses, hopefully we can kind of work that out. But right now with all these injuries, he's stepped up. We appreciate the fact that he steps up, but that's not the long-term solution for this team.
Wednesday's game against the Rockets is on ESPN. Austin Carr was talking about this matchup would make one of the best finals of all time because of the ingredients there. You got the good defense, better offense, and a competitive spirit. So this Wednesday's matchup against the Rockets is...
Yeah, speaking of Kevin Durant there, Nick, you see the Rockets coming to town. That's going to be on national TV. So it gives you a little bit of chance to highlight. They've got their big 3 coming in here against the Cavs. And we've talked about how strong the West is, especially versus this Eastern Conference, which I think is a lot weaker. You've got about 5 teams out west that may be better than anybody in the East right now. The Rockets being one of those teams. So it'll be interesting to see on the bigger stage how we match up. Early season, I don't make too much out of these games, but we do need to come out. We do need to look better than we have in the past here.
Yeah, and dude, like these are 2 teams that prioritize big boy basketball, like Kobe Altman with the Twin Towers and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and then Ime Udoka, the way that he deploys Sengun, who gives the Cavs fits every time that we play them, and Kevin Durant, Amen Thompson is a really physical big. Like the Cavs are going to have to be ready for this game because the Rockets are going to want to push them around.
Kevin Love said this week that if he gets into the Hall of Fame, he wants to go in as a Cav. Kevin Love is a top blank Cavalier of all time, you think?
Without going through all the old guys, I'd say he's definitely got to be top 10, right? I mean, right now, he's top 10 in rebounds. He's top 10 in points scored in Cavs history. So that alone, I think, would put him on the list. Then you look at the fact that he brought a chip to Cleveland as part of the big 3. That can't be forgotten. He obviously loves Cleveland, even though at times Cleveland didn't necessarily love him, especially there at the end. Blame Kevin Love became a thing. But ultimately, this guy was a champion in Cleveland. He's a top 10 player for the Cavs all time. And I'd welcome him to go into the Hall of Fame as a Cleveland Cavalier someday.
Yeah, I mean, of course he wants to go into the Hall of Fame as a Cav. Like, he played almost a decade here. When you look at your other options and you can go in with the Timberwolves, going with the Miami Heat, the Utah Jazz now, like, of course he
one of those big jerseys he used to wear when he was that big up there in Minnesota.
He was always going to go in with the Cavs, so good for Kevin Love trying to mend some of the relationship in Cleveland, because the end was weird when he was a vet and it was a young team. So sure, Kevin Love, definitely a top 10 Cav of all time.
We're taking a quick break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. This Smart Choice segment is brought to you by Smart Choice Windows. Right now at Smart Choice Windows, you can get 50% off all windows during our limited time promotion, plus take advantage of special financing with no money down and no interest until 2027. If you're looking to upgrade your whole exterior, Smart Choice Windows is offering $1,500 off siding for your entire home, $500 off entry door installation to boost your curb appeal. And remember that every project starts with a free, no-pressure estimate. So give them a call at 844-GET-SMART or visit smartchoicewindows.com and make sure to ask about the Big Play bonus to get an additional 10% off all promotions. All right, gang, we're giving you the scenario. Then we're going to say what the smart choice is. The Browns do have so many holes on offense. They have 2 first-round picks this year. The smart choice would be...
I think those picks right now are number 3 and number 20 right now for the Cleveland Browns as we sit here. I want to get off of this carousel of continually getting quarterbacks. I know that some of these quarterbacks are appealing. Mendoza, I've seen what he's done. Indiana's kind of on a roll. We'll see what they do against the Buckeyes here in a few weeks. But ultimately, I want to see, we've got so many holes on this team. I want to see us start drafting for need, getting the best available talent. Don't trade back. Don't add more draft picks. Start taking these draft picks, turning them into players that can eventually turn into a good team. Because right now we got holes all over our offensive line. We've got no wide receivers virtually on this team. The offense is just nothing. Defensively, you've got some nice pieces there, but you're going to start to age with guys like Myles Garrett. You look at guys like, in the cornerback room right now. So you've got to start filling those holes now. Otherwise, we're never going to get anywhere if we continue to scratch off lotto tickets for these quarterbacks.
I will say, though, Myles Garrett kind of said it how it was this offseason when he filed the trade request and he wanted out of here so bad. Unless you've got a young blue chip quarterback, you could have the rest of it. You could have a Super Bowl caliber defense. You could have a really good wide receiver room. We did that. Remember when we had Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, but the quarterback, Baker Mayfield, was kind of holding us back then. I want to solve the QB thing so bad. I think you could extend Wyatt Teller. I think you could extend Ethan Pochich. All right, then things are looking a little bit better. Could you bring back DeJuan Jones to play right tackle, not left tackle? Then your needs are a little bit less. You could pay a left guard in free agency. You can draft a left tackle. All of a sudden, the offensive line might be looking a little bit better. You could draft a wide receiver. How's that Lemon kid look? How's Cardell Tate look every single Saturday for the Ohio State Buckeyes? I feel like until you solve this quarterback thing, you're not going anywhere. And I'm looking at Myles Garrett right now breaking Lawrence Taylor's records, and I want to win with him so bad that I just kind of want to draft a quarterback and hope that he hits. And if he doesn't, guess what? You go right back to the well in the first round, not in the third round, not in the fifth round. You get him in the first round where the pedigree is actually there, where you get the fifth-year option. I'm curious to see how all this plays out.
This team has been eroding because we aren't filling holes, though. I mean, essentially, that's what we've seen along the offensive line. That's what we see in the wide receiver core. Everybody keeps asking, why don't we fill these holes year after year? I understand where you're at, Nick. You're not going to get anywhere in the NFL without a quarterback, but you can get pretty darn far if you filled everything else and set yourself up for when that quarterback becomes available at the right time. And we keep trying to force that right now, and it just doesn't seem to be working.
Nick, maybe your desire to win with Myles Garrett plays into this one, but if you want a free jersey of any current Cleveland athlete, the smart choice would be...
I've got most of these guys. So a guy I don't have is Schlesinger. I really love the way he's playing. A young guy, somebody you could really get behind. He had another big game on Sunday, and I think he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. So that would be my guy right now, as I've got most everybody else. I got Jose, I've got Miles, I've got Donovan Mitchell, so I've got all the big guys. So I start looking at what's next, Nick, and he's certainly one of them.
Yeah, and he's certainly a guy that seems like he's going to be around to open up Brook Park, so you'd be able to wear that one for some time. time. Keep giving me Jose Ramirez's jerseys in different colorways. I've got one, but if I was going to get one for free, just keep giving me Jose Ramirez jerseys. That's one that's going to be timeless. You could rock that number 11 forever, because when Jose Ramirez is done with the Cleveland Guardians, whenever that might be, nobody else is going to be wearing number 11, and that'll be a good jersey to own.
All right. Ohio State receivers Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are both dealing with injuries. The smart choice would be,
if they aren't 85, 90%, go ahead and sit them against Rutgers. I'm not concerned about that game at all. It's a 30-plus, once again, a 30-plus point spread at this game. So I'm not concerned about whether they play or they don't. I want to make sure that they're good and healthy for that Michigan game and then beyond. Julian Saying is another one. He's also a little banged up. He's got that ankle. So I wonder how much these guys are going to play against Rutgers. It'd be a great opportunity for us to get some of those second-team guys in there, get them some reps going forward. But the other consideration here is you do have a Heisman on the line. So if you're going to start to stat stuff, you start to look at teams like Rutgers. So I'm guessing that these wide receivers are going to want to be out there. Julian Saying's going to want to be out there. Either way, if he doesn't have the receivers, then he can go, hey, see what I could do without having any receivers, without having those two top wide receivers in the country. And then if he's not, or if he is, those other two guys are going to be out there competing. But if I'm the Ohio State Buckeyes, I say, no, just take it easy. What we want is ahead of us, Michigan and then beyond.
All right, that segment also brought to you by Smart Choice Baths. It's the perfect time to remodel your bathroom, and right now Smart Choice Baths is giving you $1,250 off your bathroom projects, plus a free luxury upgrade to add comfort and style. And just for our Big Play viewers, you'll save an additional 10% on your project. So don't wait. Visit them at smartchoicebaths.com or give them a call at 844-GET-SMART to schedule your free consultation today. Smart Choice Baths, where luxury meets affordability.
Our big play bets are presented by FanDuel. NBA tip-off. FanDuel is your home for live betting. So even if you miss the start of the game or you just want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you could even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join our friends at FanDuel, because they're giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So just visit FanDuel.com/BigPlay to sign up today. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. You got to be 21 plus, present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonuses are issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. You can see full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
All right, gang, the Browns are 3-point underdogs in Vegas this week against the Raiders. What do the Browns need to do to win this game?
The Browns haven't won a road game since week 2 of last year. They haven't won a game out west since I don't even know when. They have lost 14 of their last 16 games dating back to Thanksgiving weekend last year. I get that the Raiders are a fellow bad team. They've only got 2 wins at the time we're recording this as well. Geno Smith is a carcass of what he was in Seattle with Pete Carroll. How ironic would it be to see Kenny Pickett start for the Raiders against Shedeur Sanders in this spot? I'd love to pick the Browns to win this game, but right now, man, I just can't do it.
Yeah, give me the Raiders, give the points. Right now, you talk about setting offenses back. We talked about this with the Jets. This is going to be another one of those games, Nick, that's going to set the offense for the NFL back 100 years. The Browns have scored 162 points this season. They've scored, as of recording right now, I know they got the Monday Nighter, 139 points as a team. I mean, that's insane. This team is not very good, but I still give it to Pete Carroll. I know he's on the hot seat right now. I think he can get it done, and I think if I'm a betting man, I'm taking the Raiders, giving the points on this one.
So this stat obviously didn't get better because of the Browns' second half collapse against Baltimore on Sunday. But going into that Week 11 matchup, the Browns are getting outscored 116-72 in second halves of games this season. They don't play complimentary football. They don't play winning football. They are just a team to not bet right now.
What about the over-under? It's set at 37.5. Are you taking the over or the under this week?
Cleveland averaging 16.2 points per game, and the Raiders are averaging 15.4. Once again, going to set back offenses in the NFL for 100 years. I'm taking the under on this one, 37.5, which is already low, but I think we can go even lower in this game, Nick. I don't like this game at all, and offense won't like it either.
No, too much weirdness. Like, if Dillon Gabriel can play, he's probably going to at least miss maybe a practice, and if he can't and it's Shedeur, then who knows, because we've never seen him in a full game. We've never even seen him in a practice, so I'm staying away from this in its entirety.
Do you have an inkling of who would be our best shot to win the game, though? Who's your preference?
I think probably Vegas to win the game. And then in terms of an anytime touchdown scorer, I think you would have to look at the obscure receivers that Shedeur's used to throwing to. Maybe like a Harold Fannin, maybe somebody like a Gage Larvin. Well, somebody that just like it wouldn't necessarily be with the ones like Njoku or Judkins would be.
I meant quarterback, Dillon or Shedeur. Who would you prefer to give the Browns the better chance to come out as the winning team?
I don't think I don't think they have a chance in this game. You could put Patty Mahomes at quarterback with these tackles, with these receivers. Doesn't matter.
You've lost all hope, Nick.
Apathy has set in over here, man. It has.
I'm hopeful. I think if we see Shedeur, we might see good things. I mean, I think this is more of an even matchup for us. Our defense has been as dominant as ever, and maybe that's the hopeful in me week to week. The delusion maybe as well. Don't forget that you can watch every Tuesday at 7 p.m. a full breakdown of everything Cleveland Browns with Hanford Dixon, Josh Cribbs, and Phil Taylor. You can catch it live on X, YouTube, or the Big Play app. It's called The Top Dogs Show, only on the Big Play Sports Network. We'll see you next week.